Welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled you're here. If you're gearing up for Descendants, Wicked Wonderland, but feeling, just a little fuzzy on all the massive, magical, and honestly kind of chaotic lore that got us to this point, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to completely catch you up on the epic journey of Auradon and the Isle of the Lost, breaking down everything you absolutely need to know right from the very beginning.
So are you truly ready for Wicked Wonderland? Because figuring out what happens next requires us to understand a massive overarching theme in this universe: changing history and breaking tough generational cycles. Seriously, it's all about these kids looking at the dark, villainous paths their parents paved and literally saying, "No way, I'm gonna write my own story."
Okay, let's dive into this. We'll start off with 1, the original villain kids. Move on to 2, Return to the Isle. Cover 3, Breaking Down the Barrier. Explore 4, a time-traveling twist. And finally, make sure you are 5, ready for Wicked Wonderland. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Original Villain Kids. Descendants, 2015.
Our journey starts with a super strict division. You've got the idyllic kingdom of Auradon on one side, and the magical prison, the Isle of the Lost, on the other. The story really kicks off when Prince Ben invites 4 kids from the Isle, Mal, Evie, Jay, and Carlos, over to Auradon Prep for a second chance. Now, their initial mission, handed down by their wicked parents, was actually to steal the fairy godmother's magic wand. But once they arrive in Auradon, something fascinating happens. Slowly, the new environment just kind of starts changing them. They begin to realize they actually have a choice, ultimately choosing friendship and goodness over their parents' dark legacies.
Now, what's really interesting here is the incredible role reversal it represents. That is Maleficent, Mal's mother, turning into a literal dragon to attack Auradon just because her daughter refuses to hand over the wand. This is the exact moment Mal changes her own future. She stands directly up to her terrifying dragon of a mother and stops her cold. It's the ultimate rejection of that generational cycle we talked about, marking the start of a whole new future for the villain kids.
Section 2. Return to the Isle. Descendants 2, 2017.
Which brings us to the inevitable growing pains phase. Back in the gritty, familiar environment of the Isle, we see Mal suffering from some severe doubt. I mean, being a soon-to-be princess in Auradon, that feels like an overwhelming amount of pressure for her. She begins to deeply feel like she just isn't good enough for this picture-perfect world. So, completely overwhelmed by the expectations of her new life, she runs away, fleeing right back to her roots where things actually make sense to her. But she doesn't stay alone for long, which brilliantly illustrates the divided loyalties in this universe. We see the sheer power of true friendship as Ben, Evie, Jay, and Carlos immediately follow Mal back to the dangerous Isle to help her. But brewing in the background is a brand new threat. Uma, Ursula's daughter, now runs the Isle alongside Harry Hook and Gil. And Uma, she is still fiercely angry that Ben chose Mal over her. She feels abandoned and she wants payback.
All that tension just explodes into a massive action sequence. After a seriously dramatic battle at sea against Uma's pirate crew, our heroes manage to restore order. And in the joyous aftermath, Ben takes a huge leap and proposes to Mal, and she says yes. But honestly, even more importantly for the lore, Ben officially announces that more kids from the Isle can finally come to Auradon. These are the very first real cracks in the barrier separating these two worlds.
Section 3. Breaking Down the Barrier. Descendants 3, 2019. This brings us straight into the third era of our story, moving rapidly toward total unity. As Mal is finally embracing that love is way stronger than revenge, someone from Auradon actually breaks bad. Audrey, who lost Ben to Mal, is completely consumed by jealousy and transforms into the dangerous Queen of Mean. She even casts a deadly sleeping curse over the whole kingdom. It completely flips the script on us. The classic good girl becomes the villain, forcing Mal, the former villain kid, to step up, protect the realm, and learn what true leadership actually means.
Events happen really fast here, so let's move to and see how this all builds. First, the barrier around the Isle starts opening to let more kids in, which inadvertently allows Hades, who actually is Mal's father, to escape. But after dealing with Audrey's threat and securing the kingdom, Ben and Mal are officially crowned king and queen. And their absolute first major act, they bring the barrier down for good. Everyone is finally welcome. The two divided worlds become one.
Which brings us to a massive pivot. What happens when you rewrite history? Up until this exact point, our heroes have been fighting tooth and nail to change their future. But in the newest chapter of the Descendants universe, the focus shifts entirely to changing the past.
Section 4. A time-traveling twist. The Rise of Red, 2024.
Okay, so years have passed. Uma is now, surprisingly enough, the head mistress of Auradon Prep, and a major temporal disruption is about to change all the rules we just spent time learning. The conflict starts when Red, the daughter of the tyrannical Queen of Hearts, arrives in Auradon. Instead of coming in peace, her mother violently attacks the kingdom, but Red flat out refuses to be a pawn in her mother's game. Boldly rebelling against her cruel parent, Red chooses kindness. She makes this incredibly unexpected alliance, teaming up with Chloe Charming, the bright and super optimistic daughter of Cinderella.
And how exactly do they save the day? Well, they use a magic pocket watch to literally travel back into the past. While they're back there, they uncover a massive secret. The Queen of Hearts wasn't always cruel. Armed with this knowledge, they make a super risky decision. They try to alter a specific, deeply painful moment in the young queen's past to prevent her from ever turning wicked in the very first place. So the absolutely crucial point is right here. They actually succeed. History changes. The entire timeline shifts. But as anyone who loves sci-fi knows for sure, messing with time always carries unknown consequences. Fixing one problem in the past might just trigger an entirely new set of massive problems in the present.
Section 5. Ready for Wicked Wonderland. Where we stand now.
All right, we've traced the legacy from the original villain kids all the way to a shattered timeline. So here is your rapid-fire status quo checklist. Mal and Ben currently rule Auradon as king and queen. The island Auradon are no longer separated. They are fully united. Red successfully chose kindness instead of following her mother's dark path, and Chloe Charming is now her absolute closest friend. But most importantly, the timeline was rewritten, and what that actually means is still completely unknown.
Which leaves us staring at this final, incredibly vital question. What does the rewritten timeline mean for everyone's future? The fundamental rules of the universe have been bent. The past is different, which means the present we thought we knew might hold some massive surprises. You now have all the lore, all the backstory, and all the context you need. The only thing left to do is dive headfirst into Descendants' Wicked Wonderland and find out exactly what those consequences are. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and enjoy the adventure.